Hey everybody, welcome back to My Other's Keeper. We are here for a new year, which means this is year 3 of our lifespan. Year 2 saw a whole pile of interruptions, and I just didn't do very well last year, just either physically or emotionally. And right now I'm coming down with a cold. So we've got some chicken soup, some orange juice and okra water. I'll tell you about that later. And we have our very own Adrian Tawiaka. So, hey, Mama, nice to see you. I'm so glad you're here. And Lucky Diesel is Crystal, and it's always good to have her here. So, yes, these are the people who usually show up right from the beginning. I'm going to put the comments on the screen. Hang on. Facebook pages. Sorry, it's yeah, got that. Yeah, we should be able to, according to my current settings, we should be able to get comments from people who are on Facebook. But if you read the banner right below here, along with my little happy gnome, if you're commenting from Facebook, we may not see it here. We're not ignoring you, but we may not see it. So, all right. So apparently the comments are going to come in right under your chin there, Adrian.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. There we go. All right. So Mama wants to know how you doing.
I'm doing well. Yeah.
Good.
I'm on a cell phone right now, so if my video lags or whatever, I apologize.
Okay.
Yep.
If it happens to be that it lags too much, would you be willing to change to your Chromebook?
I don't know if I'd have access on my Chromebook because I don't have messaging.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So we'll just live with, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Adrian and I were talking before we went live, and the picture was perfect. I don't know what's going on. So, but cell phones do that sometimes. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So.
Anyway.
Yeah, and as long as I don't run out of power here too, I just realized I only have 20% left on my phone. So if we end up walking around, people, don't be surprised because I'll have to go get my charger. You get to
and it'll be nice just to see your house.
Yeah.
You know, and if things get too boring, don't worry. I'll just, you know, keep my eyes open and see what's going on. And
there you go.
Just watch from a distance.
Yep. What do they call that? Bird's eye view?
Something like that. I got sick of it being really boring, like just a gray thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I drew eyes on it and put gold in the middle so you could see it. What can I say? I get bored easily. I also lose things easily. I've never seen you look better. Love you too, Mama. I also lose things easily. I have a whole list of questions and topics to discuss with Adrian. And how long did we spend, or did I spend looking for it earlier? Like a good 20,
half hour.
30 minutes, yeah, about that. And oh my word, it was frustrating. And it was in the book where my Scrabble. No, it's not. It was on the table. It was right on the table. Why? Oh, Adrian.
Ooh, hold that thought, people. 1 second. I'll be right back.
Sir. Okay. So anyway, you know how things are like right in front of your face and you still can't see them? That happens to me a lot. And that's what happened to me here today. And God just is like, okay, don't worry. I got this. I got this. I'll sort it all out. So, yeah. Mom, are you watching on YouTube or from Facebook? Let me know. And I would like to be able to know if they are able to comment. So,
Sorry, guys. There we go. Trying to fix this cell phone
Okay.
issue here.
Ah,
Trying to.
okay.
I think
Okay.
we'll be okay. I just don't touch anything and we'll be all right. So
All
thank you
right.
people for being patient with me.
That's okay. Okay. So let's introduce my friend Adrian. I was going to call you Sydney, and that's not your first name. Adrian Sydney Tawiaka.
Yep.
Now that is not the name that I initially knew you by. What would that name have been?
It would have been Aaron Adrian Bala.
Aaron Adrian Bala.
Yeah.
That is the name I first knew him by. And what name were you given at birth?
Adrian Sydney Tawiaka.
Okay. So how old were you when, well, first of all, you were taken away from your parents. Was it from the hospital or was it from their home or from where?
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. Those unfortunate, those things aren't really given to us as information.
Okay.
We have adoption orders that we have that I read. It just says at a very young age. So I was adopted when I was 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
It was very young. Like it would have been less than a year, I would say, from being born. So
Okay. Okay. And so you would have been then taken into the foster care system, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So did they give you a reason as to why you were taken away? No?
nope,
Okay.
no reason at all. No, just we were part of a movement at the time called the '60s Scoop that we call it now. So there was a lot of
Yes.
indigenous kids my age that in the '80s and that were taken from our homes and placed in other homes.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that 60s scoop. I personally know only what I've read and researched. So um, basically what I know, and then you can fill in some details with your own life events. As early as the 1960s, Indigenous children were taken away from their parents. And this is actually harkens back to the residential school system. So in residential schools, children were taken away from their home communities, from their home families, taken to a school, usually not always, but like 90 something percent were run by the Catholic Church. And their hair was cut short. They were punished if they were to use their own language. They were punished if they were to use their own names. They were given a number rather than a name. And there was a whole lot of some of the worst abuses that you can imagine that happened during those residential school years. And those lasted well past into the 60s scoop. But the 60s scoop was of the same mindset. Take the kid out of the Indian family, you kill the Indian, save the kid.
Yep.
Isn't that
Essentially,
disgusting?
that was the idea behind it. Today, when I think about it and I research, I look into like adoption and those kinds of things like that. My adoptive family, I'm 100% convinced today, they weren't given the full story. They weren't given all of the information. They weren't given all of the things that they needed, I feel, to deal with the things that happen later on in life. A lot of it, I would say, was they were blindsided by some of it.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there was also a lot of warning signs early on in life that
okay.
they didn't get addressed. So it's a mixture.
Okay. Okay. Now, I have here in my notes that your birth mom, she kidnapped you from foster care. She didn't want to let you go.
No, that's the story I was told. Yeah. And I have no recollection of it. It's a conversation that I had with my mom after I met her. I'll take it at her word that it happened. I personally like it. I think it's pretty cool that she would have done that. I always tell people when I was younger, I was like, my mom was like total punk rock for doing that. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't see my mom until I was probably 25. So
Wow. Wow. At least you took a look for her, right? So many kids who were adopted out, well, A, they didn't look for them. They didn't know to look for them. B, they couldn't find them because maybe they were no longer around and living. And C, maybe some of these parents just didn't want to be found. You know, like, I don't know. It's not the same as your typical
no,
mommy
like
giving her baby up for adoption for a better life kind of thing. This was a taking from.
we were displaced,
You were
plain and simple.
displaced. Yeah.
We were taken out of our homes, for whatever reasons, and put into other homes.
Yep.
A lot of Catholic homes, Anglican homes, just Christian.
Jewish. There's some who
all
went
those
put into
homes like
Jewish
that.
homes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was. Yeah, it was. It is what it is.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
it's a lot to process as an adoptee.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to process, just in general for just an average person. I feel,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
adoption is trauma.
It is.
Adoption is the only trauma in this world where the victim is expected to be thankful for what has happened to them.
Yeah.
And it's sad because the other half isn't really recognized. Again, like I
Right.
said, I'm to be thankful for what happened to me, that I didn't grow up in a potentially bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to push back just a hair.
Yep.
The type of adoption you experienced wasn't, in my opinion, adoption. That was kidnapping. That was state-sponsored kidnapping.
Fair.
Your parents never gave any sort of permission. They never gave any sort of, here, take my child for a better life.
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of adoption, I'll fully say, agree, absolutely 100% is evil. Evil. And what was done to you, wrong on so many levels. What happened with my sister Tanya, she was given away by her mother, but because the mother said, you know, I want you to have a better life. And then they did get in touch later on. But you're right. As an adoptee, she was expected to be thankful for what
Yeah.
she was given. You know, whether or not it was a trauma, you still had to be, oh, but we took you because we loved you. No, you didn't. You didn't know me.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No, for sure. So yeah, no, it's my mom loved me though, and I know she loved me. So
That's a good feeling, isn't it? Knowing that your mama loves you.
yeah, it definitely is. I mean, she was a wonderful lady. She really, really
Was
was.
she?
She taught me so much about so many things in life that I just probably would have never got in the Christian upbringing that I had. Um, it's
Okay.
almost sad to say that there are aspects of my life that today I have, and a lot of it came from my mom. That giving of myself to other people. Um, there's a world out there that a lot of people don't see, and a lot of people don't want to talk about. But
Mm-hmm.
being at my mom's house, surrounded by all of the not so good things that I was surrounded with, I also got to experience love in a way that I've never really experienced before. I learned a new way of caring for other people, than I was taught growing up.
Mm-hmm.
The family was important. Family was the number one thing. We could
Mm-hmm.
get mad at a relative and kick them out in the snow. But my mom would come to me and say, Adrian, you need to go get your uncle and you need to bring him back to the house to make sure that he can get a cup of coffee or something
Yep.
like that. Right?
Make sure he doesn't
Um,
freeze to death.
yeah, right. And so it was a different type of love when I
Yep.
met my first mom. It was, it just opened my eyes to a whole new world. It really did. And
Mm-hmm.
some good, some bad. And I mean,
Mm.
that's that. Yeah. So,
Okay. So when you were adopted by your new family, were there any other siblings that they had?
they had adopted, a daughter.
Okay.
She 6 years older than me.
Okay.
So,
and was it from a similar situation?
Honestly, I don't overly know.
Okay.
And it's not really my place to say.
Fair.
Publicly, I would say I know some information, obviously, but that's her story to tell.
That's
So
fair.
if it ever comes down to that, she can do that if she so chooses.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she is 6 years older than me. We were not close growing up at all.
No.
No. By the time I got to grade 6, she had already graduated, right? So she went
Oh
off
yeah.
to Bible school and university and get married and all those
Mm,
normal things that people do right out of high school.
mhm. Well,
So
normal things that some people do right out of high school.
yeah.
Yeah. So Crystal wants to know, did you get to meet your birth dad?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So we will talk about meeting your birth mom first, and then we'll talk about meeting your birth dad, okay?
Absolutely.
And if I have to cough, I am very sorry. I will try to make sure that I mute myself first. I'm coming down with a cold or something, or I'm not sure exactly what, but okay. So when did you meet your birth mom and how did that come about?
Cool. It was like around 2023.
Okay.
Something around there. So I would have been 22-ish, 23 years old, roughly.
Okay.
So basically, when somebody gets adopted, we have options when we turn 18. We can fill out forms. Those forms go in, they go on a list. And so if my mom was out there looking for me, they would connect us together through it. We had to pay for it. And nothing ever became of it. 2 years had passed and nothing. So I just kind of forgot about it and let it go. I ended up in Regina around that time. And I knew she was from Regina. I knew that she was an active user in the drug world. And at that point in my life, so was I. So I had a very good idea as to where I could find this woman. And so I, one day, told my roommate, I said, I'll be back in a couple days. I got on my bike and I left. And he says, where are you going? I said, I'm going to go find my mom. And he's like, what? So I'm going to go find my mom.
Doesn't she live over there? Yeah.
So I biked downtown Regina, and there used to be a bunch of old bars that aren't there anymore. They've all been ripped down.
Oh, okay.
But I walked into this one, and there was this woman sitting there at the table, kind of as you come into the entranceway, kind of staring at me. And she said, what do you want? And I said, I'm just trying to find someone. And she said, well, if you're not here to get anything, you probably should leave. And I was like, well, calm down. And she stood up and started walking towards me. She's like, no, I really do think you should probably just probably leave, right? And I was like, okay. And she's kind of standing there kind of aggressively at me. And I was like, I looked down. She had a knife in her hand. And I was like, whoa, lady, calm down.
Back up.
So I was like, whatever. I left it alone. I left. I ran into this individual. And he's like, oh, I know who you're looking for. So the search began. So from the point that I met that woman, 2 hours later, we ended up back at the same place. We walk in, and this man with me, who turned out to be my uncle, points to this lady and says, that's who you're looking for.
Wow.
He saw me with them. I walked over to her, and she looks at me. She's like, who are you? I said, I'm your son. And she dropped her beer and started crying.
Had she been looking for you?
No.
No, she didn't. Oh, wow.
No.
She probably had no hope to find you.
Oh, no, she didn't. She lost all hope. That's part of the story that, I would share, today with people that, our conversations. Yeah, it was just a really emotional moment when we met.
Absolutely.
We sat there in that bar for probably 2 hours just talking, She was very apologetic. And right off the hop, instantly, it was, I love you. I've always loved you. It's not that I didn't love you.
Yeah.
That was good for me. That gave me some sort of confirmation to the fact that, my mom wanted me. My mom wanted me in her life.
Yeah.
I was, like you said, I was stolen from my
You
family.
were.
And so when I met my mom, yeah, we just, she had a very not good background, and there was a lot of negative aspects that were surrounding her all the time. A lot of them were family, a lot of them were not family, but
Okay.
just very influential people, right? And so I took that relationship on, and I got to know my mom.
Mm. Okay. Now, was she surrounded by a lot of substance use?
Yeah,
Was she yeah, okay?
yeah.
And was that maybe the excuse that the government used? Or was it simply the fact that you were an indigenous family and indigenous people can't raise their own kids because goodness knows what they're going to get into?
I want to say the second one, but honestly, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. The second one might actually be closer to the truth.
Could be, um, my mom did drink and use though when she was carrying me, right? So it is a strong possibility that the ministry was like, this is just not a good scenario. And at that time, there wasn't a lot of. I don't think there was a lot of talk. I think it was
No.
just, this is not good, so we're gonna step in and we're gonna do what the mom can't do. I think is in my mind is that's how I feel it was. So
Okay. So you thought that there was at least some, maybe not good, but at least reasonable reasons behind it?
yeah, and my mom was like I said, my mom was an addict,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I was never mad at my mom for what happened.
Good.
When she
Okay.
when she asked me for forgiveness, it came freely. Because I'm a recovering addict, right? So I understand the struggle. I understand the pain that goes with addiction. Um, she had an addiction, and society took a lot of that power away from her, which
Oh
just
yeah.
left her, I feel, in a very vulnerable state. Which
Yeah.
just you put two and two together, and it's not a good at the end of the
No.
day.
No.
So um, she lived with a lot of heartache and she lived with a lot of pain. Um, yeah, she had a lot of regrets. She had a lot of just, you know, she had 8 of us, and all 8 of us were taken.
Wow. And where
So,
did you fall in the eight, like birth-wise, birth order?
um, so my oldest sister would have been Charity, and then Jennifer, and then I'm the oldest boy,
You
and then
know
that would go,
everybody's names.
yeah, and then it would go to Ashley, and then from Ashley it would go to Marcel, and then from Marcel it would go to Richard, and then from Richard it goes to Sienna, and from Sienna it goes to Tyson.
Wow. And you didn't grow up with any of these kids, so you didn't grow up knowing everybody's names, did you?
Nope. I didn't even know I had siblings
Wow. When did you find all that out?
when I met my mom.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see. Yep.
Because consequently, my brother actually had found my mom before me. And so in the time frame that I had met my mom, he was out of the city at the time. And then all of a sudden one day this guy showed up. I was like, "Who the heck are you?" I was, "What are you doing here in my mom's house?" And he says, "What are you doing in my mom's house?" And I was
Oh.
like, "What?"
And your mom's like, my babies.
That's essentially what she had said. And then she made a joke and she's like, "Don't start fighting with each other now." And I was like, "What?" And that was the start of the relationship with my brother. I mean, I
Okay.
had a very close relationship with my brother.
Wow.
He even lived with me for a while,
Did he?
yeah, so good guy. I miss him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
you
do.
say you miss him. He's obviously passed away.
Yeah, he passed on.
Okay. And how many of your other siblings are still around?
The rest of them are all here.
Okay, so you've only lost one sibling then,
Yeah.
which is good because you're only in your 40s,
Yeah.
and like that'd be way too young to lose a whole lot. So
No, for sure.
yeah, yeah. Um, So I was going to ask you something else, and I'm looking at my list of questions, and none of them seem entirely appropriate. Um, well, what was going through my mind is, of your siblings and yourself, how many different homes took you all away from your mom? Did they each person go to a different home? Were any adopted out together? Anything like that?
My youngest brother and sister were together. They were kept together with their adoptive family. The rest of us were all just dispersed, or I don't know, all over the place. So, um,
Wow.
my oldest sister lives down in Washington State now, um, but my whole life she was less than an hour away from me my whole life. And we
Really?
didn't, yeah. So, my birth mom too. My birth mom actually lived on the reserve next to my where I grew up. And in some of our conversations we had, when we got to know each other, she would talk about how she would go to the rink and she'd watch kids play hockey. I said, you didn't even realize it, but you were probably watching your own son this whole
I was
entire
going to say
time.
she was
You didn't
watching
even
her
know
own
it,
boy.
right? So
Wow.
it's pretty cool. So, hi, Zoe.
Yeah.
This is my dog, everyone. This is my emotional support pet.
Hi, Zozo.
Sit.
Yes. Zoe is one of the sweetest mutts you'll ever meet. She is just great.
Got her from my home reserve on a hunting
Yeah.
trip. She's a good dog.
Yeah. So, reserves, a lot of people will know, like, the word, they're from the reserve, they're from the res, they're from whatever. What do you know about the history of reserves?
Honestly, not a lot.
Okay.
Um, I wasn't raised on a reserve. I wasn't raised around indigenous folks. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't subjected to the culture, the language, the ceremony, anything like that. It's none of it was introduced to me growing up, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
my understanding of those things is just what I hear today or what I say today, right?
Okay.
They took me,
Yeah.
right, and that's it. Um, and then unfortunately, life happens. So,
Life does happen, and your life has happened a lot. So let's talk about some of the things with which life happened. Something we were talking about getting into was the 60s scoop and discussing all of that.
yeah,
But recently you were talking about maybe wanting to discuss being abandoned.
yes, abandonment, adoption, and abandonment go hand in hand. Um,
Right. Yeah.
I had huge abandonment issues right off the hop, right? So first of all, we got to think about my mother drank and used while I was in the womb. So
Mm-hmm.
already I have trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm brought into this world with trauma. Then I'm taken. That's more
Yeah.
trauma. Then apparently I was kidnapped. More trauma.
Yeah.
Then there was a family that wanted to adopt me and then just didn't come back. More trauma. Right. And so by the time I ended up in my permanent adopted family home, I showed up with coping mechanisms already. And one of those coping mechanisms, which is across the board, actually, it's quite common. I think the number is like 80 some percent of kids do this. But for me, it was I'd hold my breath until I passed out. And
Really?
basically, it's just an emotional trauma trigger response. Just
Really?
brought on by fear, or a small injury, frustrations, anger, things like that, right? And so I guess if I wasn't understood as a child, I would cry, I'd throw a tantrum, I'd be upset, and then I would just hold my breath and pass right out.
When you think about it though, what you're looking for is control over your world. And the only thing at that age you can control is your breath,
Yeah, it
right?
was pretty scary. I know one story I was told. We were at a relative's house, and I fell down the stairs,
Oops.
and then yeah, that's all it took. So abandonment runs deep right off the hop. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, when I finally did get adopted, and finally was in a home, um, yeah, I came with a bunch of just, you know, stuff. I had my own little suitcase of stuff, you know,
your own emotional baggage.
Yeah, and I still have that little suitcase to this day.
Yeah.
You know, but again, I'd go back to as adoptive parents. I truly still believe that they weren't given the full story as to who I was as an infant, as a child, right? So
And back in those days, like you said, you were born. Sorry.
Go ahead.
You were born to a mom who was addicted and was using before you were born, and while you were in utero. Back in the days when you were an infant, before you were born, and for generations before, nobody ever knew what the effects of having alcohol in a mom's system or drugs in a mom's system would do to the unborn child.
No,
you know,
it's not.
They had no idea.
It's 4% in Canada, right? And that's just the number that we know.
Right.
So that's quite a bit of, you know, in the population of Canada. That's a pretty large number of people who suffer from FASD.
Okay.
And there's probably hundreds out there that don't even know, you know.
So FASD, for people who don't know, is fetal alcohol
syndrome disorder.
Syndrome.
Yes.
Or spectrum disorders.
Spectrum disorder, yeah. It's a lot.
Alcohol spectrum disorders. Okay. Yes. My brain has to get around these. All right. So, and not only was it alcohol, but there was also illicit drugs in your mom's system, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Narcotics were definitely a part of that too. So,
okay.
The assumption I have is I was born addicted to something.
I wouldn't say that's an assumption. I would say that's a verifiable fact. You know, like
it's but that again too, right? You take that person in that situation and then you expose them into the world. A baby being born in general is traumatic for that child.
Absolutely.
But then you throw something like that on top of it. Well, who knows, right? So we get me into this family. Yeah. And my grandfather, who I got very, very close to, very, very close. He died. Just one day he died. I didn't understand why he died. He just died. He was gone. And I cried for a year and a half, 2 years for that man. Sure. And I remember my adoptive mom would make comments like, well, why is this, like, why is he not getting over it? Why is this, like, it seems really long for a child to hold on to something like this. I can look at it today and I can tell you exactly what it is. It's abandonment. Part of the abandonment, you know, with it, you know, and that carried on into the rest of my life. That went into my relationships. It went into everything. Defense mechanisms that protected me from people all the time that were around me. I walked around with walls most of my life because I was just afraid of being left alone.
Yeah.
You know, a story goes, I grew up on a farm. Story goes that, you know, my adoptive parent went to bring supper to the field. And my sister was with me and she wasn't coming back soon. And I lost it. Just lost it. And I was like, they left me. And she actually had to call our grandmother and she had to come from town out to our farm to come make sure that I was okay. But I, in my mind, they had left me, you know, and I was just traumatized by the whole thing.
Well, yeah.
It's funny because recently, I have memories of a dream. So we've talked about this about a week ago, you and I, about some of these things, and part of the abandonment, right? So I had a lot of nightmares, and I had a lot of just those things as a child, right, before the age of 10. And I had this reoccurring nightmare. And in his nightmare, this little guy would come and he would take me from my family. But my family would never come get me. And so it was just like, I don't know. And so the one that really stuck out in my mind, though, the most, and it was, and I can still give it detail. I was probably 7 years old when this happened.
Wow.
In my dream, So we live on a farm and we have a grain yard, bin yard, north of us. And there's a row of trees and there's this little archway that you connects the two, right? So you walk from one yard into the other yard.
Mm-hmm.
So in my dream, this guy came to the house and took me out of my bed and took me and kept me underneath the grain truck in the bin yard. And while we were under this truck, he would continue to tell me that these people don't want me. And in my dream, he took me into the house. And I remember in my dream walking into this house, and I remember seeing my family, and they didn't even care that I was gone. And I woke up. That's the only time in my entire life that I can remember, other than one other time, that I ran to my parents' bed and I crawled into bed with them because I was so terrified.
Wow. Yeah, I could see that being terrifying. Absolutely. Misha, who is awakened reflection or awake Ned reflection, but that's Misha. And everything's a facade from our first memories until now. Nothing is truly ours, if that makes sense. And Misha was also adopted. Sorry, hang on just a second.
No worries.
Yeah, Misha was also adopted as a very small child, I seem to recall. And her story is quite different from yours, but also at the same time very tragic.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a
Adopted
lot
kids
of
don't go through a lot of good stuff, like we really don't.
yeah.
At least in my experience, especially when it comes to my siblings and what we share with each other of what our
Mm-hmm.
experiences were like growing up in our homes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, Misha was adopted at birth, actually. Okay. Yeah, primal wound. Absolutely. It's something that you feel right from the DNA that you have.
Mhm.
Something I have heard, though, as well, is not only is it adopted people, but most people with ADHD have abandonment issues. And I don't,
Probably,
yeah.
I can't, like with the FASD, I got all the alphabets. I
Yeah.
got the PTSD, I got the ADHD, I got the FASD, whatever, the list goes
You
on.
got a lot of D's.
I do, so I don't know. Hasn't stopped me yet though, right? So,
No, you're one of the most resilient people I know. I
well,
love
thank
it.
you. Thanks.
Yes. So when was it that you started your journey into addiction?
I was 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember what
I,
started you?
yeah, I ended up in a place I shouldn't have been.
That was a little specific.
Yeah. It certainly wasn't in my hometown where I grew up. I can say that much. But
Yeah.
no, I ended up in a situation where there was narcotics, um, and not your typical narcotics that you would expect 13-year-olds to try for the very first time. Um, it wasn't me trying to smoke pot. That's for sure. I can tell you that much.
Okay.
But that opened the door for me. That first time was like putting a piece of my body back on. It was like almost like
Really?
something missing was given back to me.
Really?
And I maintained that for years and years and years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a successful hockey career as a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things, right? So looking back now, I can say as a young person, we can hide our addictions, we can hide our shortcomings very, very well because we're young.
Mm-hmm.
And we have that in us at that age. As we get older,
Mm-hmm.
it starts to go away. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it becomes harder to hide these things from the world. Um,
Yeah.
and so I would get my hands on drugs at certain opportunities given to me,
Mm-hmm.
and just do them. Um, Medication for ADHD was the next step, because it was easily accessible, as a young teenager in a small town,
Yep.
as other things were as well. But
Yeah.
that started, I think, probably, I'd have to say at least a good 20-year relationship with ADHD pills. Uh, you know,
Wow.
Yeah, so that was my gateway drug, basically.
Really?
Yeah, so
Okay.
then that just took me into other things, right? Um, I
Yeah.
wasn't interested in smoking pot at
No.
all as a teenager. It didn't interest me at all at that point,
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's Misha also is commenting that adopted individuals have a significantly higher likelihood, nearly double,
yep.
of experiencing a lifetime of substance use disorders compared to non-adoptees.
It's
Interesting.
higher for indigenous adoptees as well. Actually,
Oh, wow.
all of the stats that you hear about adoption, you can raise them a little bit when it comes to indigenous adoptees.
Wow. Well, because there's a whole level of trauma.
There's a
From
generational trauma gap in there that hasn't been addressed,
yes.
for sure. And that generational trauma gets passed down from generation to generation to generation, right?
Yep.
It's that whole, how do they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree?
Neither does the nut.
And it really doesn't,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. That's for sure. No, and when they talk about generational trauma, most people will think, oh, the sins of the father are put upon the child. But at the same time, it's not only the sins of the parents, it is the trauma done to the parents. Actually, according to Dr. Eugene Lipov, he talks about it changing the DNA of the
Oh,
people,
absolutely.
and that's why you will have people who are um, retired junkie here. Yeah, absolutely. Misha and you have so much in common. It's just, yeah, you two are some of my favorite people.
The narcotics and those things are, to my understanding, they're interwoven into my DNA, right? So
Yes.
they
Yeah.
have become a part of who I am as an individual, which contributes to the chemical imbalances and all
Mm-hmm.
that other stuff that comes along with that, right? So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So
So as having changed your DNA, is that a change that you might have passed down to your own children?
actually, yes.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I found it in my research here recently. Obviously I've been recently diagnosed with the FASD, so I think we're in year 2 now.
Okay. Yep.
But I wanted to know. I wanted to
Yep.
know the effects of the father on the
Mm.
children, if there was any effects. And
Mm-hmm.
they say that there is. It's potential. That it's not a confirmed, scientifically confirmed by any means, but there
Right.
has been studies that would say that yes, um, it would have an effect.
Yeah.
They say that daughters of fathers who are ADHD are likely to become ADHD themselves, and my daughter had
Interesting.
ADHD big time. Oh, did she ever?
Same. Yeah. Yeah. When I talked to my psychiatrist and I asked if I had ADHD, she's like, well, of course you do. I'm like, thanks for telling me,
Yeah.
you know. But we had been dealing with so many of the other issues in my life that ADHD was not top of the list. So,
No, it was for me. It was, because it was just they threw it around a lot. Like my adopted family
mm,
put me into counseling and psychologists, and by the time I was like 15, 16 already, I was making the loops into those types of scenarios already of seeing psychiatrists and
oh,
psychologists
yep, yep.
and them trying to diagnose me and blah blah blah, and unfortunately, one of them just kind of put the notion in the adoptive family's ear that there's nothing wrong with him. He's an addict. That's it. So if he quits the drugs, he'll be fine. There's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah, that's it.
That was a long time ago. I'm 46 this year, right? So
Yeah.
that's many, many moons ago. A lot of things have changed since then. And
And
things,
so
thank
much more
God,
knowledge.
right? But
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So, but yes. So abandonment is it's huge. As an adult, it affects my relationships. I have issues with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm clean and clear headed, I can look at things and I can say I struggle with maintaining friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it's out of fear. Um,
Yeah.
The people that
Are
I
you?
have both in my life, they're
Mm-hmm.
important to me. I love those people very, very much,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, it's still in there. And I'm like, no, you still have to put some sort of wall up here because you never know what's going to happen. Right.
You
And
don't know if they're going to reject you at any
yeah.
point.
And sadly, I've gone through that as an adult.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope that my family doesn't ever do that to you.
Well, I don't think
Congrats.
you will.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
hoping we don't.
You have some of our stuff there anyway. So,
That's right. You have stuff in our sheds in the
yeah,
backyard.
for sure.
We're
So,
stuck with you.
yeah.
Yeah.
You had asked about my dad too.
Yes.
Um, so my father was Sydney
Mm-hmm.
Tawiaka, Sydney Orville Tawiaka. He actually died
Okay.
September 11th, 2017.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
I didn't know much of my dad.
Mm-hmm.
He was an alcoholic. I knew that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he was crippled.
Hmm. How
Um,
so?
he walked like he shuffled. Like he couldn't bend his knees, and like I don't know, an accident or something like that. I have no idea. No one really ever told me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, in that world, right, lots of stories told between people
For
of
sure.
what could be there, but
Yeah.
never given any actual real confirmation on anything. Just knew that he was crippled or disabled, I guess, in that sense, we'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
And he drank a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't want anything to do with me for the first while.
Wow.
He
That's
actually
gotta hurt.
went as far as just saying, no, like, I don't have any children. Um,
Wow.
I was so into drugs at that time, like, it didn't even phase me, you
Right.
know, um, until it did phase me. Um,
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to say it, but I punched my father.
I've punched
Um,
my father too, but tell me why you punched yours.
I was mad at him.
Yeah.
I got to that point where finally I was like, hey, listen, I am your son. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need a dad. I got a dad. I have
Mm-hmm.
a man who's in my life who does those things for me. I said, I'm not looking for anything from you. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
expecting anything from you. I just want you to know that I am your child and you are my
Mm-hmm.
father. And that's it. He didn't say much after that. Um, then I didn't see him again until September 10th. As I got off work early, and I was living in Moose Jaw at the time, and I wanted to. I thought I want to go to the casino, downtown Regina Casino. Right, I had some
Mm-hmm.
cash in my pocket. Go get a beer or something like that. I'm thinking to myself, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So as I'm walking through the casino, who do I see towards me? My dad, and he looks at me and he says, "Son." And I go, "What's up, Dad? How are you doing?" "Pretty good. How are you?" "Yeah." And I said, "You know what? Can I buy you a beer?" I said, for some reason, I just, in my head, a son having a beer with his father for the first time just seemed like a thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, so we bought him a beer. We went out onto the patio together and we talked for 2.5 hours. He shared stories with
Nice.
me about his life, tried to give me parental advice. Some of it was sadly too late. Um,
Yeah.
don't get in trouble with the law and things like that, right? But I just told
Yeah.
him, yeah, Dad, like I hear you, I hear you, right? He didn't say he loved me. He said I love you, and he said it just like that. Um, and so I said it back to him the same way, right? That was like the
Oh,
very first and last time I ever really had that connection where we said we loved each other. Um,
wow.
I got a beautiful moment with that man. The next
Mm-hmm.
morning, I got a phone call to tell me that he had died in his sleep. So I thankful for that moment. I'm thankful that I got that with him. I was thankful that was able to say, I love you, and I'm not mad at you for what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Him too, addictions, right? And I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. I spent 27 years in active addiction,
Mm-hmm.
so I get it.
Yeah.
He he was athletic though. He was a real good ball player, you know, and he was a really
Oh,
good hockey player. He had opportunities to do things with those skills. Um,
okay.
Growing up as a kid, they got me into hockey by the time I was 5, and
Nice.
you know, and I was playing on teams an age up already.
Oh,
You know, so,
wow.
put a bunch of they called us like all stars, but they put us together on a team and sent us to a tournament when I was 7. That's where I scored my very
Wow.
first goal, actually. I remember it, you know, like it was, you know, yesterday. It's pretty cool, but I was good. I had a talent for it, and I took hockey as far as I could take it with balancing an addiction at the same time. Um,
That had to
yeah,
be hard.
I had the opportunity to play junior A and I never took it. Um,
Oh.
you know, but I can say this: I was fortunate enough to, you know, I did play AAA, and I
Mhm.
even did a few international hockey tournaments as well. As
Wow,
a
I didn't
teenager,
know
right?
that.
So to play teams from overseas and play on Olympic ice surface at the age of 15, that was pretty cool. To
That's
travel
like,
around, oh yeah, travel around Canada, you
yeah.
know, and spend time in these hotels and do these
Mhm.
tournaments and everything else like that. And
Mhm.
then to see these players that you play against or played with go and make it to the WHL. One of them made it all the way to the NHL. You
Wow.
know, he almost won a Stanley Cup the last time the Dallas Stars were in the finals, right? I cheered for Dallas. I'm
Cool.
an LA King fan through and through, but I cheered for Dallas because, well, Mr. Fiddler was on there, and I was like, you know what? You and I were on the same line when we were kids.
There
We
you
played
go.
hockey
And
together in Edmonton,
those just, yeah.
you know. So
Excuse me.
despite there being a lot of trauma and a lot of just horrible things that have happened to me throughout my life, I
Hmm.
still can say truly that there are moments in my life that I cherish deeply that have
Hmm.
built and added to the character of, you know, who I am today.
Hmm. Yeah. So it's more like you grew up because of the disabilities, of the abandonments, because of the addictions. You are the person you are rather than in spite of.
Yeah,
And the person you are today, like those are very unfortunate things to have happened, but the person you are today is amazing.
thank you.
And kind of the way I look at it is, I've been through a whole lot of crap. Who can I talk to who's going through the same kind of thing that I can give hope that there is someplace on the other side to go, right?
Mm, well,
That's
thank
what I
you.
see. That's what I see in you. I really do.
It's I have a real so in FASD, um, one of the main characteristics in FASD, actually, one of the strong characteristics is forgiveness.
Mm,
Um, I had, and I see it. You know, people around me have seen it. Um, Forgiveness, being able to forgive, is a very strong, powerful thing. Um,
mhm,
Forgiveness starts with yourself, I feel. Um, and what I say is certainly not facts here, people. It's just my own personal opinion. So
mhm.
it starts with self, right? You need to learn to look at yourself in a way that says, you know, I got to fix this.
Yep,
But how do you fix it? You address it. Well, how do we
yep.
address it? We admit to it that there's something there that needs to be fixed, right?
There's
So
these
you
building
learn to
blocks.
be graceful and merciful, like, and have mercy upon yourself as you
Mhm,
heal and learn to forgive yourself. Through the process of forgiving yourself, things start to come out.
mhm,
Passion, desires. All of a sudden, there's this, I want to help other people.
mhm.
Next thing you know, it was like, well, now I have an opportunity to be a youth worker, um, advocacy work, things like that.
Mhm.
You know, it's just been a wonderful journey. And in saying that, I'll say I've been clean for 5.5 years now, and it's been one heck of a journey. Let me tell you,
And I
it
have seen
genuinely-
you before and during your
yeah,
recovery.
yes,
Like I knew, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the chat every now and then. Um, but yeah, knowing what I knew about you, during your addiction. I don't know if we would call it during the height of your addiction, because I don't know how deep it ever went, but I do know your last hurrah. I remember that very, very, very well. And one of the success stories about Adrian's life is he is married to an amazing woman named Tiffany. I hope she doesn't mind me saying her name.
It's okay.
Okay. But she is one of the sweetest, most loving, big-hearted women. I cannot imagine her without you attached. You know, I can't imagine that. But in the same way, I understand what it's like to go through a lot in your own brain. And this we can talk about a different day, Adrian, is talking about what marriage in a traumatized life can look like.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's I think that was the biggest thing that I could like just share with people today would have been this abandonment, you know, and what that means and what that looks like. Yeah, I mean, for people out there, like the trauma that we endure as adoptees is not to be praised by any means. It needs to be taken seriously as to what it is, and it's trauma.
Yeah.
Right. Those traumas lead to all sorts of horrible things. Everything from suicide to rampant addictions to you name it. Like it can tear a person apart from the inside, and it can do it before we even realize it's happening because we can't identify that that's what it is because we weren't given that opportunity to understand. We were just thrown into it. As we were thrown into the world, we were thrown into an adoptive family and, you know, whatever. And you can't tell me there isn't trauma involved in that, you know? So your identity gets lost and who you are as an individual becomes compromised. And you spend your whole life going, well, who am I? Who do I belong to? Am I loved? Do these people love me? Fear, looking over your shoulder, constantly going, well, who's going to get me this time? Who wants to hurt me this time?
Yeah.
Full trust, always in a defense mode from day one. And it gets tiring. It's exhausting.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And so if a person doesn't learn to just be gentle with themselves and address the issues that are there and say, hey, I forgive myself. It's just going to keep working, right? It's never going to stop.
Right.
At 17, the first time I went to a treatment center. They didn't let teenagers in at that time, so I was in a treatment center with a bunch of 30-year-olds as a teenager, right? It was interesting. But I do remember, and I hang on to this day. We did this exercise, and part of that exercise was we looked in the mirror and we told ourselves that we loved ourselves.
That's hard.
Took probably a decade before I could do it.
Yeah.
I did not love the person in the other side of that mirror at all. Because that person looking back at me was a person full of just hurt and pain. It wasn't something that I wanted, you know, and if we can go a little broader on all of it, we don't do drugs because it's fun.
No.
We don't do drugs because, you know, we don't know until we try, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
I didn't wake up one morning and say, hey, I'm going to be a drug addict.
Oh, come on.
You know?
Didn't you? Like, really?
Yeah, I know, right? It was a progression, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pretty soon you end up in a point where it's gone. Yourself is gone, and that addiction at that point takes over. So for me, that became my identity. And I embraced that identity as an addict, as a person from the street, as, you know, somebody who surrounded himself with negative people all the time, you know. Those were my mentors then. Those were the people that I turned to. You know, people that my mom introduced me to, you know.
Yeah.
ties to gangs and things like that, right? So it was just a lot of like crash course in life for me
Mm-hmm.
in that
Mm-hmm.
sense. But like I said earlier, when I met my mom, it's what I wanted my whole life. And so I didn't
Yeah.
even question it. I just jumped in with both feet. And I was like, I'm here. I'm here now.
Mm-hmm.
It's my mom, and I want to get to know who this person is,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Uh, my siblings, outside of my late brother, um, relationships were never good with my mom, from what I
Mm.
understand, from what they told me.
Okay.
Um, and again, I think a lot of anger, hurt, and pain comes into that. I remember talking with my brother, and he would get so mad at me, and he'd be like, "Adrian, how come you can have such a good relationship with mom, and all we do is fight?" And I'd be
That's
like,
your
"Well,
choice.
because you don't talk to her,
Yeah.
you get mad at her. Well, look at what we've been through." And I'm like, "Well, yeah." He
Yeah.
was just in a different place.
Yep.
Sadly, his addiction took him, and
Is this the brother
and
who was
again,
in Edmonton
yeah,
at
and
the time? Yeah.
again, the cycle continues, right?
Yep.
His daughter, she's young, she's in foster care now, but she too, she's at a young age. She's going into early preteens, and some of that angst is starting to come out now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, because her too displaced.
Yep.
My children displaced. Most of my siblings' children's displaced.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us, we don't know why they were taken from us. Other times we were told because of this, and it just stuck.
On a different day, we are going to talk to Adrian about his marriage to his first wife. We are going to talk to him about his children and how they were taken from him as well. So not only was Adrian stolen, his children were stolen from him. And your whole story is a huge heartbreak. But again, I look at who you are now, and life sucks in general. But you, as an individual, as a human being, you're amazing. You
Thank
are an
you.
amazing man, I have to say.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah. And I love the friend that you are to my husband. Adrian is one of my
Yeah.
husband's best friends. So, like you've been a part of our family for quite a while now. So
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
to
I
say,
have.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's the odd group of people in your community that I can truly say have seen the transformation from point A to point C.
Hmm.
We'll leave out the middle because the middle it was pretty ugly, you know. So
Yeah, the middle kind of sucked. But
yeah,
I mean, whose middle doesn't?
well,
My
it's
middle
just
just happens to be a few years ago. It's not as recent as it could have been.
but
But
I'm alive
indigo,
today, right? I'm alive
yes,
today. And
absolutely. And you're
that
alive for a reason.
there was a time though where I didn't think I'd make it this far though
Yep.
either, right? I've gone under, right? I've
Yep.
flatlined. So
Hmm.
I'm a fortunate individual. I'm blessed.
Hmm.
Um, one thing my adoptive father impressed on me growing up as a kid is that as an individual, we need to learn to be thankful for the things that we have. Being adopted sucks. Granted, fair, comes with a ton of trauma. But in the midst of all that trauma, I can truly say that there are things that happened in my life that I am truly thankful for.
Yep.
Memories, experiences, family trips, things like that.
Yep.
There was a lot of negative things that happened as a kid growing up.
Hmm.
That I would say today, probably legally wrong, but it happened.
Yep.
Um, but at the end of it all, I'm here today. I have a story to tell. It's quite large, full of many different avenues. My story can never be told in one evening, obviously.
No.
Um, but I'm thankful.
Yep.
I have a partner who is encouraging, like you said, and has put herself, I would say, the chopping block when it comes to dealing with somebody with a disability.
Hmm.
Not only is she my wife, but she's also my legal caregiver at the same time.
Okay, that makes
My
sense.
disability at this point, I don't really need it that intense yet. So
But down the road,
down the road, you never know, right?
that's
So
right.
it's just another thing to be thankful for, you know.
Yeah,
And my adoptive father's advice just rings in my head sometimes, you know. I'll be gently reminded by someone, and it'll just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I'll be like, "Oh shoot, yeah, hey, maybe we should be a little thankful for what's going on here," you know,
yeah,
because it can get dark, still, very, very dark.
absolutely. Your adoptive father was such a wonderful man. Um, there's not much about him that I can't admire. So yeah,
Yeah, he was my biggest fan. You know, like he
yeah.
was my biggest support. He was always there for me, no matter what.
Hmm.
In my mind today, I look back on it and I feel like he embraced me for me. I think he didn't understand mental health and illness in that point,
Hmm.
but I think he did his absolute best to give me everything that he thought I needed to be successful in life.
Yeah,
Um, you know, did they make mistakes as parents? Sure. Did I make
absolutely.
mistakes as a parent? Absolutely. Who
Yeah.
doesn't? I mean, last I checked, a child doesn't come out with an owner's manual saying, "Hey, step one."
Well,
You
the
know,
owner's manual would be a little tougher to push out
yes,
because
probably. I can't say, but I'll take your word for it.
yeah,
But you know, it's just yeah. So
yeah. All right. So we're gonna finish up with Adrian now. And if you have any questions about Adrian's life, if you have any questions or have any comments from your own experience, we have a number of people here in the chat and who are friends of the show who've been adopted, who've been through um, uh, sobriety issues, who've been through bad parenting situations, who've been through a number of different things. You just happen to have them all, you know. So that's
I'm a
you're a
scholar.
font. You're a
I am.
font of
There
information.
we go. We'll just say I'm a scholar of the world, I guess.
That's right. That's right. Anyway, so we will get back together with Adrian. Next week, I do not yet know who we will be talking to because I haven't thought that far ahead. I've been doing things like, getting around a cold and falling down and hitting myself on the floor. Yesterday, I gave myself with self whiplash.
Oh no.
Pretty good. Yeah, I know, right? Me and falling. What is this? So
it
anyway,
happens. But I would say to people, if you want to reach out and talk to me, you can find me on Facebook under Adrian Tawiaka.
Yep.
Yeah, send me a message. Just say that you heard me on your thing, and if you have questions you want to ask me, I'm open to conversation with people. Especially if it builds some sort of rapport that can help others in the same process.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, Adrian is an open book. He is easy to talk to and very understanding. So yes, have a great night, everybody. I love you all. I really, really do. And you have to really enjoy my little gnomes.
Oh,
What can
they're
I say?
cool. They are cool. Yeah.
So anyway,
Thank you,
Happy New
everybody.
Year.
Thanks for having me, and look forward to reappearing on another time.
Sounds great. We'll talk to you again.
See you later.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Some come with scars, some come with dreams. In this circle, we're more than what we seem. No judgment here, just voices to be heard. Through laughter, through the tears, we find every word. I'm my brother's keeper, I'm my sister's guide. Standing here together, with nothing left to hide. We lift each other up when the world feels torn apart. We're keepers of the flame, we're the healers of the heart.